Dear students, now today let us show that the electromagnetic waves are transverse in nature using Maxwell's field equations. Now it is to show that electromagnetic waves are transverse in nature. Say this is the representation of an electromagnetic wave, electric vector, magnetic vector vibrating at right angles to each other. This is the direction of propagation of the wave. So here, let the electromagnetic wave be propagating through the free space. It is moving in the free space. So the Maxwell's field equations, they reduce to this form. The original Maxwell's field equations, they reduce to this form in free space. Free space, conductivity 0. So rho is 0. That's why del dot E is 0. Del dot B, however, 0. Del cross E minus del B by del T. Del cross B is mu naught epsilon naught del E by del T. Now, let us write these equations in terms of their components. Now, del dot E, what is del? I cap del by del X plus J cap del by del Y plus K cap del by del Z. Dot E vector is I cap EX plus J cap EY plus K cap EZ. When you find the dot product, we get this. So, this is the representation of equation 1 in terms of components. Similarly, del dot B in terms of components is given by this. The third one, del cross E. See here, I have expanded del cross E. Del cross E, how to get? Determinant form. First row, I, J, K, then del by del X, del by del Y, del by del Z. Third row is EX, EY, EZ. Then, using determinants, we get del cross E as this. Then, so, that is equated to minus del B by del T. What is del B by del T? Del by del T of IBX plus JBY plus KBZ. So that the third equation in terms of components is this. First term, I cap into this. So here I cap has got this coefficient. So that this equal to del Bx by del T with minus sign. This equal to minus del By by del T. This equal to minus del Bz by del T. Equate these two. First term, this equal to this. This one equal to J cap By. This one equal to J cap K cap Bz. Using that, we get this. Similarly, fourth one, del cross B. In a similar manner, we get del cross B as I cap del Bz by del Y minus del By by del Z. In place of E, just put B. That's all. And right hand side, mu naught epsilon naught del by del T of I cap EX plus J cap EY plus K cap EZ. So that by equating the coefficients of I cap, J cap and K cap, we get this. This is about writing the four equations in terms of their components. Now, suppose the electromagnetic wave is traveling along X direction. Now, if that wave is traveling along X direction, then E vector and B vector are not the functions of Y and Z. Since the wave is traveling along X direction, the components of E and B, which are the functions of Y and Z, they become 0. That is, del by del Y and del by del Z of all the components of E and B, that becomes 0. As the wave travels along X direction, there is no change, there is no variation along Y and Z direction. So, all the components of E and B with their variation del by del Y, del by del Z, they become 0. So that all these terms, they become equal to 0. If you apply this one in equation 5 and 6, 5 and 6 mean this. In 5 and 6, what do you get? Y, del by del Y, del by del Z, 0 means we get del Ex by del X 0 and del Bx by del X equal to 0. Rate of variation of Ex with respect to X 0. Rate of variation of Bx with respect to X, the component of B with respect to X also 0. What it says? these two equal to 0. See here, these two 0 means these relations say that E and B are not varying along x direction. E vector and B vector are not changing along x direction. There is no variation of the components of E and B along x direction. What it says then, the variation should be along y and z direction. So the variations of E and B are only along y and z direction, not along x. What this says, so the variation of E and B along y and z direction respectively gives rise to the disturbance propagating in the perpendicular direction, that is along x, thereby proving that electromagnetic wave is a transverse wave. And further, using 7 and 8, say substitute these things in 7 and 8 also, then we get these relations. Substituting this one, 9 in 7 and 8. You have 7 and 8 set of equations. Substitute 9, these two in those two, then we get these relations. Say this one, what it says, del Ez by del x equal to del By by del t. Del Ey by del x equal to del Bz by del t. The variation of z, the variation of z component of E, variation of space variation of z component E gives rise to time variation of y component of B. These two are equal. Similarly, space variation of y component of E gives time variation of z component of B. See there, y and z components are connected. What it says, here also, z and y of B and E are connected, y and z. What this says, the variations of E and B are along y and z direction. Variations of B and E are along y and z direction, so that the wave propagates along x direction, thereby proving that electromagnetic wave is transverse in nature. This is the proof. Next is Poynting vector. Poynting vector, this term gives the idea about the energy carried by the electromagnetic wave. Energy carried by the electromagnetic wave is measured, or it is given by the Poynting vector. Here, electromagnetic wave, when it propagates through a medium, E and B are in phase. You know the meaning, in phase. That means both E and B, E vector, electric vector and magnetic vector, both will take their maxima or minima simultaneously. That's the meaning, they are in phase. See, you can see this one in figure. See, both are in phase. So, here, both E vector and B vector contribute to the energy. When energy is transported from one point to other point of the medium in space, or point of the medium, or it is transmitted from one point to another point in space, then both E vector and B vector, they contribute to this energy. Then the rate of flow of energy per unit area perpendicular to the direction of propagation of energy is called Poynting vector. It is denoted as P vector. Poynting vector is the rate of flow of energy, energy carried per second per unit area, perpendicular to the direction of flow of energy, rate of flow per unit area, that is energy per second per unit area, in a direction perpendicular to the direction of propagation of energy is called Poynting vector, denoted as P. And this Poynting vector is given by E vector cross H vector. B is mu naught H, so that what is H? B by mu naught. So we get P vector as 1 by mu naught E cross B. This is nothing but Poynting's vector. What it says? It states, in a plane electromagnetic wave, rate of flow of energy through unit area is proportional to product of electric and magnetic intensity. This is Poynting's theorem. Now, one more term defined, energy density. It is the energy carried per unit volume of the electromagnetic wave. Energy carried per unit volume of the electromagnetic wave is called energy density, given by this formula. W equal to half epsilon naught E square plus half mu naught H square. This is energy density. And one more term defined in this unit, in this topic, is dispersion. Dispersion taking place in a dielectric medium. You know what a dielectric medium is? It's an insulator. The dielectric medium is an insulator. Then the dispersion is nothing but variation of refractive index of that dielectric medium with the frequency. Variation of refractive index is nothing but variation of the permittivity of the medium. You know the relationship between refractive index of the medium and the permittivity. N equal to root epsilon r. Maxwell's equation. N is equal to root epsilon r, or N square is epsilon r. So, refractive index of the medium varies means permittivity it varies. This variation of permittivity or refractive index with frequency is called, frequency or wavelength is called dispersion. Now, consider a dielectric medium. Suppose an electromagnetic wave is incident on the dielectric medium. The electromagnetic wave, it may be microwave, or it may be infrared, or it may be visible, or it may be ultraviolet. When an electromagnetic wave is incident, then the electric field of that electromagnetic wave disturbs the charge distribution of that dielectric, so that dipoles are created there. In the medium, dipoles are created, and when dipoles are created, you know what are dipoles? The electrons produce the negative charges, nothing but electrons. In the dipole, the positive and negative charges are separated. The negative charges, electrons, they got little inertia, so they follow the incident field, that is the electric field, very easily. Very easily in the sense, they can follow the field even at optical frequencies of the order of 10 power 5 hertz, such a low frequency. In that case also, the electrons, they follow the electromagnetic field. Optical frequency means it is the oscillation frequency of the corresponding electromagnetic wave. Optical frequency, the frequency of oscillation of the incident electromagnetic wave. For this visible light, whatever the optical frequency, it's of the order of 10 power 14. Infrared, slightly less, it is less than, for infrared it is less than 10 power 14. For ultraviolet, it is more than 10 power 14. Now, the electrons which follow the electromagnetic field, they start vibrating under the influence of this external electric field of that incident electromagnetic wave. To start with, both the electrons they vibrate, the vibration of the electron, that means frequency of vibration of the electron and that of the field, they will be in phase. Then, in that case, the refractive index of the medium, which increases with increase in the frequency of vibration of the electron, or refractive index N decreases with the wavelength. To start with, when the electron and the field are in phase, the electrons, they follow the field. In that case, the refractive index N, it varies with the frequency as this. Refractive index increases with the increase in frequency. This is for different materials like flint glass, crown glass, quartz, etc. Or refractive index decreases with increase in wavelength. This relationship is maintained between the refractive index and the frequency or wavelength. Frequency or wavelength of the incident electromagnetic wave. N means the permittivity also. And such a variation is called normal dispersion. Such type of this uniform regular variation, either increase in frequency or increase in refractive index or decrease in refractive index with wavelength, this is called as normal dispersion. Then, as the frequency of vibration of the electron increases, at certain stage, the frequency of vibration of the electron increases to the value wherein the phenomena called resonance occurs. So at resonance, frequency of vibration of the electron and that of the electromagnetic wave, when they become equal, then that phenomenon is called resonance. And when resonance occurs, the behavior of the electron, it changes very violently. There will be violent change in the behavior of the electron. When resonance occurs, amplitude of vibration of the electron becomes maximum, so that there will be a rapid change or violent change in the behavior of the electron. As a result, what happens is the electrons, they absorb the energy from the incident wave very strongly. There will be a very strong absorption of energy. The electrons, they absorb energy. Who are going to absorb energy? The electrons, they absorb energy from the incident wave. As energy is absorbed by the electrons from this incident wave, then in such regions, see here, you can see the regions. In such regions, certain bands called absorption bands are produced. See, as wavelength increases means as frequency decreases here. Decrease in frequency, increase in wavelength, or increase in frequency this side. So, N, see, when the resonance occurs in the region near that resonant frequency, in the region of resonant frequency, in the region near the resonant frequency, the refractive index of the medium becomes discontinuous and a strong absorption of energy takes place, so that in such regions absorption band is produced, and in that region no light is transmitted. Complete darkness is observed. No light is observed in that region. Further increase in wavelength, again the process of variation of N continues, and at another region again absorption band is produced, and such a phenomenon is called as anomalous dispersion. This is known as anomalous dispersion. Here in this region of absorption, the value of N which becomes discontinuous. So no light is observed in that region. This is nothing but anomalous dispersion. Anomalous dispersion, and this anomalous dispersion is observed in almost all transparent materials for ultraviolet radiation. When ultraviolet radiation is transmitted through the transparent materials, there anomalous dispersion occurs. No light is seen, absorption band is produced. There will be strong absorption of energy. In case of visible light, these absorption bands are produced in a dielectric material such as iodine vapor, and one more material called Fuchs-Stein dye, which is a brilliant dark red dye. For these two, absorption bands are produced in visible region. This is about the phenomena called dispersion, normal dispersion, and anomalous dispersion. With this, I stop here.